Good morning, Houston. I'm KHOU11 meteorologist Kim Castro. If you didn't get a chance to catch our morning newscast, I am going to fill you in on all things weather. Here are the big headlines that I'm tracking. Heat advisory for today and tomorrow. There could be some isolated downpours this afternoon, and I've got an update for you in the tropics. So let's get going with everything you need to know. Heat advisory for today is going to last until 10 o'clock on your Saturday. We are tracking some feels like temperatures that get all the way up to 112 degrees. So I want you to be really mindful of how much time you're spending outdoors and how your body is adjusting to the heat. If you notice that, well, you're not doing so hot, make sure you take breaks in the shade, you seek an air conditioned space, and that you make sure that you are watching for these signs and symptoms that I'll show you here in a second. But notice the reason why heat and humidity, that combination, can be dangerous for your body is because, well, the body tries to regulate by sweating. When there's dry air, that sweat wipes off. You get a little evaporation effect. Unfortunately, when you sweat and the air around you is wet, it's humid, that sweat stays stuck, and so your organs are working hard. They're working overdrive. Your heart pumps faster, your liver is working, and these organs heat up quickly and they can become dangerous. So even though we live in Houston, even though we're used to the heat and the humidity, this type of humidity combination puts us above that safe threshold and something we need to monitor. So like I said, breaks in the shade, drink water, and some electrolytes are probably a good idea. I always like to drink a little bit of coconut water to replenish some of the salts that I'm losing through the sweat. Air temperatures right now, we are in the upper 80s, but it feels like the triple digits, and it is barely 10 in the morning. So that should give you a heads up as to what we're going to expect a little later on this afternoon. 88 at both airports, 88 in Conroe, and it feels like 101 degrees. So what is our kickoff forecast for today? Hey, the USA plays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time we're watching that match, it is going to feel like 110. Actual air temperatures are going to push into the low 90s. Notice there's a chance for an isolated storm for the afternoon. I'm going to show you that here on Future Track. I think between 3 and 5 o'clock, that's when we could get some of these heavy downpours because the air is very moist. We're talking about tropical drops. Those are the big ones. And yes, when it does rain, it's going to come down pretty hard. There's no severe threat today, but with a quick accumulation spot, we could see some localized street flooding. So keep that in mind. Same thing for tomorrow. It's a very similar setup and a very similar time frame. You'll notice, I think tomorrow afternoon, we might squeeze out even more energy. And so that's going to be a day that we watch closely on radar. You can watch radar too. Before you step outside, make sure you have a check so you know which areas to avoid or perhaps find an alternate route. Notice flood risk today has been elevated to a threat level 2. This is on the 1 to 4 scale. And then for tomorrow, we have a flood threat as well. It's technically a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised though if they adjust this and make it a threat level 2 again for tomorrow. Next 3 days shape up like this. Today, tomorrow are weather impact alert days because of the heat advisory. I also wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service reissues a heat advisory on Sunday because not much is changing. There's still the same amount of heat. There's still the same amount of humidity. So we could certainly be cautioned about those feels like temperatures pushing into the low triple-digit teens. Notice the next 5 days after tomorrow and Sunday, rain potential drops off. I think nothing more than an isolated sprinkle, maybe a small shower, 20% or less for your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But from now through the weekend, and it is a big weekend, we've got all the matches going on. We've got Father's Day weekend plans. Be mindful of radar. This has been a really busy week, hasn't it? So we got our first named storm of the season, Arthur. It actually developed along our coastline. Lucky for us, and I mean, we really got lucky. That low broke off and all we got was like clear skies and calm winds from it. The dirty side of the storm with all the convection pushed to the east of us. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, they got flooded. They had tornadoes, they had water spouts, severe weather for those states. And there's still some leftover moisture that continues to push into the Carolinas. And then you'll notice it's expected to re-emerge on the eastern seaboard. And the National Hurricane Center is actually going to be watching this. They're thinking there's a small chance, 10% over the next 2 to 5 days, that this could redevelop, that this could get organized again. And if it does, it would actually take on a new name. So it would also get Bertha. It's kind of a selfish system, right? We already got Arthur from it. and maybe, just maybe, it redevelops. The good news is that this wouldn't have any bearings on the continental U.S. At this point, it would push off into the Atlantic, but certainly something to monitor. It is hurricane season, right? And it is our hot season as well. So I am anticipating those temperatures and the humidity to be something that we have to grow accustomed to, and we find creative ways to maneuver around it, right? Weather impact alerts today and tomorrow, like I said, because of the active heat advisories. Check back in with us throughout the day and into tomorrow because it's possible that they could reissue that heat advisory for your Sunday. Rain chances stay in the mix. Afternoon downpours possible even through Father's Day. That's at 30%. And then as we head into next week, rain chances take a back seat, only 20%. The heat, though, that is going to be around at low to mid 90s for the actual air temperatures, and the heat index values are going to be in the triple digits. So some of the heat dangers that we have to be mindful of, here they are. So look for heat exhaustion or heat stroke signs and symptoms. I will read these off for you in case they're hard for you to read. Okay, so when it comes to heat exhaustion, if you're feeling faint or dizzy, if you have some excess sweating, cool, clammy hands, weak or rapid pulse, either extreme, muscle cramps, at that point you want to try and mitigate that as quickly as possible. So cool your body off, go to an air-conditioned space, drink water, do a cold compress. Maybe you have a wet towel that you can put around your neck. Now, if you see any of these signs and symptoms, or you notice them from your friends and family that are around, those are some that you want to take immediate action and professional action for. So calling 911, for example. Throbbing headache. If you don't typically get headaches, that might be something you pay attention to. For me, the one that jumps out is always the no sweating. If everybody around you is sweating, that means the body is functioning properly. It is trying its hardest to cool itself off. With no sweating, well, then your body is starting to shut down. That's the sign. Red, hot, dry skin, very rapid pulse, in and out of consciousness. Again, that is an emergency type of situation. I know it sounds really extreme, especially if you are born and raised in Houston. We've got a lot of visitors though, so we have to warn them about the heat and humidity. Some people are just used to either one. Maybe it's a little bit of a humid place where they live and it's not as hot, or maybe it's a hot place like Phoenix, but it's not as humid because it's dry. We get both, and so that's when things can take a turn pretty fast. So just keep those things in mind. Enjoy these matches today responsibly. We'll have more updates on the hour. See you then.